Good morning, everyone. I don't know if you've heard, but Deltarune is releasing tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I of course mean June 5th, which basically the same thing. Tomorrow, 2 months, the same. You might know this, but there was this Go Nintendo article that released some images with borders on them, because it's the Switch version. And I want to talk about what we can learn from these borders. So let's hop into the video. First, I do want to explain what exactly borders are. See, on the console versions of Deltarune, such as the Switch, you have these little borders that go around the screen, and there are two different settings for borders. One is the simple setting, it's just like a little white box, and the other is dynamic, which is the one that's relevant today because dynamic borders change with the location that you're in. So there's a different one for Castletown, there's one for the Light World, there's a few in Chapter 2, and this Go Nintendo article has pictures that include borders. I cannot show you the pictures because I don't have access to that with my setup, but I have made drawings of the borders, and I will leave a link to the article in the description so that you can pull it up and figure out what I'm talking about. Anyways, okay, so I want to start with the one you've probably seen already, which is the Tenna border. This is the one on the picture with the stealth zone. It is pretty much all red, and it has Tenna. It has antenna named Tenna. And I think that's pretty exciting. So this is like a Tenna design, mayhaps? The border here looks very similar to the one for Queen's Mansion in Chapter 2, where it's got Tenna on both sides, like standing on a little pedestal. There's also some little 4-pointed stars. I assume they're just meant to be sparkles and not specifically save points. But they are 4-pointed stars. Also, if you look at the top of the image, it has a little TV antenna, which is kind of a theme for the borders that are in Chapter 3, it seems. Chapter 2 also does something similar, where it kind of looks like a computer around the screen. But yeah. Alright, let's go to the other Chapter 3 borders now. So I grouped these next two borders together because they're very similar. Both of them have a lot of stars and also the little TV around the screen. The first one is the one that looks brown, and it's in the picture of the Fun Gang fighting the Shadowmen. So this one is a little interesting. The antennae are pretty big on here. They're actually cut off at the top, it looks like. And also there's like some depth going on. The border kind of looks like a stage. It's almost like 3D-esque. And this I think is interesting. I think this one is going to happen pretty early on because, like I said, the antennae are big and it looks like a stage. Kind of, and like theater is an older form of visual entertainment that involves acting. And then the second one is in the picture of the rhythm game section. It's pretty blue, purple, one of those colors. This one is a lot more simple. It's got this pattern of stars on both sides and then the little antenna. I think this one is going to happen later in the game than the first one because if you look at the picture of the Tenna border and you look at the picture of this border, the TVs are exactly the same, just different colors. So I think that maybe we're going to start older in time with like an older form of media, like the more theater one with the bigger antennas, or at least like an older era of television with the bigger antennas. And then we're going to move to more newer media, like with the smaller antenna. I think that would be cool. And then if you look at the stars on both of these, they're very segmented, like each point of the star is highlighted, sort of. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. So I think that's interesting. And these are 5-pointed stars, not 4-pointed stars. So not save points. I think maybe we could have something going on in this chapter where it's like wanting to be a star. That could be a thing. But we'll see. Let's move on to the last border I have to talk to you about. So the last border I have to discuss with you, I'm calling the church border because it looks like it's chapter 4, and as of this last trailer, chapter 4 is really looking like it's going to be the church. This one is pretty dark blue and black, and it is in the picture of Jockington grows the beard, the coolest. Anyways, so this one has some big spires on the sides of the screens that are like church spires, looks like. I mean, if you look at the church in Deltarune, it does have a big spire. And there's also little delta runes, delta space runes, on the windows if you look close enough. The bottom of the screen also has a lot of detail, as if there are more buildings there. And there's one that you can see, one spire you can see at the top. It's hard to tell if this is several different spires or if it's just one really big building. And I think if it's just one really big building, this might be kind of a late game area. But if it's like several buildings, this could be some kind of like cyber city, but it's like a city made of church spires as skyscrapers. I think that could be cool. But yeah, I think that's it. Overall, I'm really excited to see what happens in chapters 3 and 4, and I cannot wait for June 5th. What do you guys think about these borders? Tell me in the comments down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!